Okay. Hello. Today I'm going to talk about the history and development of reverb. I first started out on Sound magazine. Basically, this guy called Mike Senior says reverberators are the most widely used studio effect. Why do we use it? Because it allows you to add a sense of acoustic space. It makes it cheaper, and it's also a creative tool. It's quite valid information for my research because Sound's been running for 27 years now. And the reverb section was a good starting point for this presentation, but was kind of geared towards educating readers on how to use reverb in their production, so probably wouldn't come back to this again, but that's a good starting point. History of reverb is what I then started looking at. This guy, Bill Putnam, is kind of the main man, it seems. He first used his artificial reverb in 1947 with his bathroom, and it was like the first creative thing, and it's popped up time and time again. But it's not necessarily a reliable source because it's unscribed, which anyone can share documents on it. But it is the world's largest online library in the world. So yeah. The Harmonicats. This was the tune that he made in 1947, and they were a trend-setting harmonic group led by Turkish-born Jerry Murad. I found that out in this book, Pop Memories, from 1890 to 1954, on page 566. Let's have a listen. It's really good. You can hear like the tail on the reverb, just like a little bit there. It's quite a big tune in its prime. I think he was the main man because he had the moustache. Right, another claim to the first use of artificial reverb takes us to Mitch Miller in the LA Times. Found that. He said that. Where are we? Yeah, it's quite reliable because it's from the LA Times. Called Group DIY was where I found it. But it's not necessarily reliable because it's just some randomer that's put it up there. Anyway, when Miller wanted his halo around his classical music, he did the same thing and made a bathroom. He said, this is Miller himself, he says, everybody sounds great in the bathroom, so we put a speaker and a mic in the toilet, and that bit of added resonance gave us the halo we wanted. The other record companies went crazy trying to figure out what we'd done, but they didn't know for a little bit. And that was taken straight from his mouth. Right, further down on this website, someone mentioned a Dr. Fritz Sennheiser. You may recognise that word. And the development of the first shotgun was him, and not shotgun, the mic. And he co-developed the reverberation unit deployed in the opening ceremony of the 1936 Olympic Games. So this kind of makes the other stuff that I found not very reliable. And this was found on what's that place called? Pure blah 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 blah. Pro Sound New Europe website, which is like a proper, like, reliable place to find stuff. And I'm going to show you what he did with his little reverb unit. Please don't take offence.
Oh no. The French team gave the Olympic salute. The thousands of Germans in the stand mistook it for the Nazi salute, and they roared their approval.
The guy who did like the reverb unit for this died at the age of 98 2 years ago.
They paid their homage to Chancellor Hitler.
And he started off as a landscape gardener before he made reverb units and shotguns. So there you are. Back to this. So unfortunately he's not with us anymore. And then I ended up at Universal Audio, which was by far the best place that I found. It was full of information on history of reverb. So around the early mid-30s the jukebox was introduced. It was good, but reverb didn't really help the sound coming out of it, so they stopped using it quite as much, and which is why in the 50s everything's quite dry. Bill Fine brought back the popularity of natural reverb after putting a single mic in a large hall to capture the ambience, and that he made us a record that was released before 1947 with that sort of sound, going back in time a bit. Bill Putnam comes back now. He actually is part of Universal Audio, and the same thing came back about his tune, the one with the harmonicas, being the first one with reverb in 1947, using his chamber reverb. This is the best source of sort of research I got so far, because it's a specialist store selling plugins and hardware to the professional engineer or producer, and there's a whole thing on this reverb, which was pretty helpful. Right, and that led me to the EMT, which is a German company as well, and I started noticing that Germany was at like the forefront of reverb, which was interesting. And they made the first ever plate reverb, which is still around today, the EMT 140. I looked it up on eBay, and there was only one in the Czech Republic going for just under £2,000. Anyway, so it was a breakthrough, and they came up with the EMT 250, which was arguably the best and most famous. That's the first one that they made, and it weighed 600 pounds, and it was massive, and I'll show you how it works. The sound is wonderful, warm, open and natural. Yeah. This is quite a good video I found about it on YouTube.
Okay, so this is the EMT 140 reverb, which came out, the Germans invented around 1957. This originally was a mono plate. I converted it by adding another pickup, which is over there. And this is the original pickup over here. And then the driver is over here. And if I just tap the plate, you might hear it. I'll put it on.
It has like different settings up here, which you move up and down to get a different tail on the whole reverb.
And then when I bring it closer, we'll hear it close. See that? Now, what I did was,
that's pretty much it. It goes on for quite a long time.
And an extra.
So yeah. Back to this. So that's like, this is the real breakthrough in reverb technology, but they took up a whole room, but they were smaller than booths, like having a bathroom, so they were quite a thing. And then that kind of, I looked all over the web and I couldn't really find anything in between until we get to the digital lexicon, which is probably the most famous reverb ever. And there it is, in all its glory. At the bottom of the website that I found this, it had a special thanks to 4 different people that talked about it, so I'll probably go back to that when I make my essay, because it was a valuable piece of research. Thank you very much. Sorry.